So the first ones we're going to start off with is the more widely known training methods, and then we're going to work our way towards the ones that aren't so widely known. Hopefully this video is really helpful to you guys, and let's just jump straight into it. So the first training method you're introduced to when you first join the game, it's the training dummies. So right away we could tell this is for new players. So for you new players out there, I want you to put your power output at 1%. What this does is it makes your attack significantly weaker. And the reason why we want you to do that is so you can get more hits in. On planet Earth, you gain 0.65 per hit. Alright, let me elaborate a little bit more on this. So as on Earth, you get 0.65 per hit. On planet Namek, you also get 0.65 per hit. On the other world, you get 0.66 per hit. In the gravity chamber, you get 4.2 for per minigame you complete. And HTC, at the Hyperbolic time chamber, you gain 0.75 per hit. But if you decide to do the mini gain, your average gain will be 2, with every rush being 10. If you want to know where I got these numbers from, I got it from the official Discord in the update section. They recently updated this, so here you go. This is just pretty much for you to get a jump start in the game. And that leads us to our next category. PvP actually stacks on top of the location. So I'm going to go ahead and update this to accommodate for PvP, removing the minigames involved. So PvP is also affected by location, so keep that in mind. So let's remove all these numbers and just put the total. So it looks like the best overall total is the other world. So this is only restricted to PvP, and the one that looks like at the short end of the stick is the Hyperbolic time chamber. So do what you want with this information. If I happen to be wrong or I need a correction, I'll put it down below. So let's get right into the next one. Hey, I'm glad you're still tuned in. So this is the shadow training dummy method. And to unlock this method, you actually have to fight Tien until you unlock the move. So the requirement is you have to be 200 strength. So this is a good time to drop new information on you guys. So go ahead and look at your stats in the main menu and look at your strength and defense, and I want you to add those two together. Whatever that total is, I want you to multiply it by 140. That will equal your power level. So the requirement to fight Tien is 57,000. Thanks Winter for providing me the information and answering my question. It's really appreciated. It's going to help me and a lot of people out. So let's get back to the topic at hand. Alright, for you new players, where do I find Tien? Well, there's two different methods on screen right here. One, you can take a ride to the Arctic. Two, or just directly fly to the Arctic. Yes, Tien is located at the Arctic. So what you want to do is make your way there, talk to him, and all I could say is try your best to beat him. Alright, congratulations, you beat Tien. Now to the real training. So what you want to do in order to activate shadow training is to click the key U. Once you click U, you get started. Before I show you my results, I need to let you know one thing. The factors. So the first and most important factor is consistency. The second factor is the location you're training at. And the third factor is the type of weights you're wearing. And the fourth factor is the fighting style. So how does fighting style play into a factor of this? Well, different fighting styles actually mean different types of combos. Some combos can send your shadow flying, and some combos can actually keep your shadow in place so you get more hits in. I'm personally so used to the Saiyan fighting style that I'm just comfortable with this. It's something I'm used to, I'm fine. If I were to give a recommendation for you on the fighting style, it would be just pretty much stick to what you're comfortable with and see how it goes from there. I can't really give you any other advice other than that, as I haven't really experimented with any other fighting styles or different types of combos. So before we jump into it, now it's a good time to elaborate on what are weights. So weights is one of the most important things you can have while training, and to get these weights, they're actually purchased by Hercule at the gym. It is near Capsule Corp. So there's 3 different types of weights: light, medium, and heavy. So these are pretty pricey, so you want to make sure you get your money's worth by staying in the game for a while. The only way you can lose these is by logging off. So the stat gain for light is 0.4, for medium it's 0.8, and for heavy it's 0.25. So it's pretty much how I showed you earlier, where you add your base gain on top of your location. That's exactly what you do right here with the weights. Alright, so what I'm about to explain to you has many combinations, so let's make it as simple as possible. First up, we have location gain. Second, we have location and the type of weights you're wearing. Number 3, we have location plus the type of weights you're wearing, and PvP. And remember, the PvP multiplier is different depending on the location. And finally, we have location, we have weights, and we have shadow. Shadow's multiplier is the same across all locations to my understanding. Now there's many combinations I didn't point out, and that is because for the sake of simplicity, I just want you to understand how to calculate it for yourself so you can understand it yourself and what do you think is the most efficient way to do this. So that's all for now. So finally, let me show you the results of my training. Alright, so we're training on Earth with the no weights and just shadow. So our total gain will be 0.9 per hit. So this is the starting of my power level before starting the training. And this is the finishing power level after 1 hour of training. So the difference in gain is 1.2 million. Alright, so same formula, but the difference is we add light weights. So again, this was the start of my power level right before I started training. And this is after 1 hour of training. So my total gain was 1.4 million. And the light weights actually contributed by 220,000 compared to when not having any weights. Alright, looks like you're getting the hang of this. As usual, the formula is on top, and this is the start right before I started training, and this is after 1 hour of training. So my total gain was 1.4 million, with the weights contributing 200,000 of that compared to no weights. So we'll get back to this shortly. And last but not least is heavyweights. So this is my power level right before starting to train, and this is my power level after 1 hour of training. So my total gain was 1.5 million, with the heavyweights contributing to that by 300,000 compared to no weights. Alright guys, please. No more. I need to take a break. Too much training. Alright, I took my little breather. So now, finally, let's break this down. So notice how the light weights actually gained more than the medium weights. Why is that? Well, remember I told you guys from the very beginning about consistency? Well, that's absolutely right. I remember in that training session, 2 big things happened in that training session. 1, the server was extraordinarily laggy. 2, I kept getting absolutely whooped on my own shadow. Stuff like that happens. It's not going to be always consistent, but it doesn't necessarily mean medium weights suck. So now that you all know how I go about things, what we're going to do is jump in the Hyperbolic time chamber. I'm going to ignore Planetamic because it's the same as Earth, and the other world is literally a 0.1 difference and it's not that significant. So this is the result of my training in the Hyperbolic time chamber after 1 hour. As you can see, the heavy weights is actually falling behind the medium weights. So obviously the main culprit is obviously inconsistency, but the reason being is actually different. The shadow kept going in zigzags and in circles, so I couldn't actually hit it or combo it properly. Maybe you guys experienced something similar. So before we move on, I want to clarify one thing. How I got the weight differences is actually pretty easy. What you want to do is get the one that you got without weights, and actually subtract that with the one you did do with weights. And the difference is going to be the total gain that you got with that weight. And I believe that does it for the shadow training method. Let's go ahead and jump into the next method. Hey, thanks for being still tuned in. Now we're going to be covering the Gravity Chamber minigame. So it does cost 5,000 Zenny every time you enter in, so you want to make sure you get your money's worth. And about location, this is right next to the Capsule Corp building. So welcome to the Gravity Chamber. So what it is, it's pretty much like an indoor gym. So once you get to the minigame, it's actually pretty simple. Once you take a look at it, you immediately know what to do. So if you hit the info tab on top, it's actually going to provide you with a couple pages of information. One of them regarding the training method in here. So apparently you get a certain multiplier based on how well accurate and how fast you go about the minigame. But referring back to the Discord, the main gain of the Gravity Chamber is a 4.2 gain per minigame complete. Any additionals is a 0.4 gain. So you pretty much keep going until you have no health left. Once you have no health left, you can't train anymore. So we're going to have to recover this health. So what you want to do is find your way to the ladder. Once you find that ladder, just head straight down and bam, you are in the kitchen. And no, you cannot train in the kitchen. It's a kitchen for a reason. So if you want to also buy weights, Hercule's here in the kitchen as well. So other than that, you want to make your way towards the refrigerator, grab some food, eat. On the top right shows your HP, make sure that's full, and just jump right into training again. So after hours of training, we have our final results. Of course, we have the estimated contribution of each weight right here as well. So one of the first things I noticed, which isn't too much of a surprise, is it's actually more consistent than the shadow training, and it honestly really is. And this is something I actually highly recommend if you're looking for more consistency. So comparing the gravity chamber stats compared to Earth stats, the gravity chamber is actually pretty good by a decent margin. So for those of you who don't have the hyperbolic time chamber, gravity chamber is definitely the way to go. Hey, it's been fun chilling with you guys. I'm glad you made it to the very end. So this is the last one I'm going to cover because this ended up being a little bit longer than I expected. So if there's anything else you guys want me to cover in the future, please put a comment down below. I'll probably be inspired by it, maybe do a video on it, who knows. So anyways, the requirements to have the hyperbolic time chamber. 1, you have to be strength of 2000. So in turn, that means you have to be a power level of 560,000. Also, you need the game pass. Yeah, kinda sucks, but in the future, this is bound to change. Welcome everybody to the room of spirit and time. So right away you notice it's a very similar layout to the gravity chamber. So the major changes we have here is right now we're in the safe zone, so here we could play the mini game. If we walk far enough, it's pretty much free roam. You can fight against your shadow or other players. So we also have Popo right here if you need to buy any weights. Notice instead of a kitchen, we now have a bed. So this bed is just pretty much used to recover all your health. So before we begin, I gotta say that this minigame might be challenging for some. So the minigame stat game is actually per punch you land is going to be 2, and for each rush you get is going to be plus 10. Ladies and gentlemen, let us review the final results. As you can see, for the first time, the weights are in the millions. And remember, the weight is a comparison to not having any weight, so it's the estimated gain from that weight. So from the looks of everything, the minigames seem to be more consistent than the shadow training, which does make sense. Now, it's definitely possible to have a 3 million power level in an hour, showing by these results, because I'm pretty average when it comes to the minigame. So in conclusion, what is the best training method? Well, as we've seen, for me the best training method is the hyperbolic time chamber minigame. For some of you it may vary, but it's most likely this is going to be your best bet as well. There's no doubt that the hyperbolic time chamber is definitely one of the best ways to train in the game. Thanks everyone for sticking to the very end with me. It's been really appreciated, and I hope this information has truly helped you in some way. Remember in the beginning of my video my power level was 301 million? Well, if you take a look at it now, it's 328 million. So I hope any doubts you had has been extinguished. So if you have any questions that I haven't answered yet, leave a comment below. I'll try my best to answer to the best of my knowledge. On that note guys, I'm going to bed. Stay safe, take care, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.